it's a Uyghur, or is it Uyghur? Uyghurs are an ethnic minority group that inhabit the Xinjiang region in China. There's an ongoing conflict between the Han government and the Uyghur people.
Uyghurs are being persecuted due to their beliefs in Islam and being re-educated within internment camps, being heavily monitored and arrested in masses, kept in poor conditions and treated harshly.
The People's Republic of China is currently carrying out a cultural genocide against Uyghur Muslims. For several decades now, China has sought to restrict the practice of Islam in the western Xinjiang region of the country. More than half of the 24 million people in the province are known as Uyghur Muslims. Over 1 million of these Muslim men, women, and children are currently being imprisoned within internment camps across China.
Now for the Uyghur history in China. The Uyghur Kingdom of East Turkmenistan has maintained its independence and prosperity until the Manchus invaded in 1876. They renamed it Xinjiang.
Originally, the Uyghurs were estimated to be around 76% of the region's population. Since then, Han migration in the region has diluted the ethnic ratio. Official statistics show the population is now made up of 42% Uyghurs and 40% Han.
How have the Uyghurs been treated in China? 1 million have been imprisoned in camps, and Bahram Sintosh, a Uyghur activist, has estimated that thousands of schools and mosques have been destroyed, and the Uyghur language has been banned for use.
Muslim minorities are being arbitrarily arrested and imprisoned. It's estimated around 1 million Uyghurs have been detained in what China calls vocational training centers.
What are China's excuses?
Xinjiang is located at the starting off point for all economic expansion into Central Asia, Southwest Asia, and Xi's Belt and Road Initiative. China wants to turn the Uyghurs into a minority loyal to the state before the project starts.
To prevent and crack down on terrorism and extremism, the Chinese government linked areas of unrest in Xinjiang with Islamic groups overseas. The independence movement has been marked as a terrorist organization.
Now on the limited action of media.
Uyghurs' access to the outside world is severely limited. Following the unrest, the government enforced an internet and cell service blackout in the region for close to a year. The Chinese government used to deny the existence of these Uyghur camps, even when faced with a UN report stating the existence of these re-education camps. There are plenty of restrictions even to get into the region. No international outlets have a bureau in the region or any reporters stationed there. There have been several news outlets that have tried to do critical reporting, such as CNN and the New York Times, and have found that access is extremely limited and have been tailed and harassed by authorities while there.
Most sources are biased against the Han's government's treatment of Uyghurs. As a result, the Chinese government is shown as brutal and unacceptable to minorities. Many sources are anti-Chinese, but include a quote from a Chinese official or authority figure on the topic. These high-rank officials justify their actions. While using only journalism and diplomacy, it is impossible that the Chinese government will stop the treatment of Uyghurs and other minorities. Physical action is needed to take place.
Uyghurs are viewed as an ethnic minority that is being oppressed by the Chinese Communist Party, which is generally disliked and biased against the Western media and governments alike.
More on media characterization.
The Chinese authorities say the policies are a counterterrorism strategy. Pakistan, China's closest economic ally in the Muslim world, criticized Beijing's regulation of Uyghur activity, saying that the crackdown actually increases the chance of an extremist movement growing in reaction. Malaysia, a major economic ally of China and home to many ethnic Chinese, ignored Beijing's request to deport a group of Uyghurs imprisoned in the country. China has rejected evidence that it is detaining Muslims, depicting its critics as players in a Western conspiracy. It has published editorials and videos on Twitter and YouTube to disprove this, saying they are voluntary re-education camps.
First of all, I would say there's no so-called labor camps as you described. There's what we call vocational education and training centers. They are there for the prevention of a terrorist.
What are some potential solutions?
China should admit to the discrimination against the Uyghurs and work to find a better solution in their anti-terrorism campaign. The Xinjiang region should gain a great deal of autonomy and receive compensation for the atrocities faced by the members of the Uyghur community both domestically and abroad. Along with this, China should begin working with the community to police possible terrorist activities and begin the end of the surveillance and spying campaign in the region.
In conclusion, Uyghurs are being imprisoned and pacified for simply being a minority and going against the Chinese government's norms. The Chinese government is censoring their actions, and the media is not representing this issue as much as it should.
Now for a sponsored segment by the great leaders from the country in the East.